WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash says there's no upside to having CM Punk back in WWE, as well as calling out the former WWE champion in the process. However, how serious Nash was being at the time is left open for debate. Santana and Ortiz had a back and forth on social media over the weekend, and reportedly their tweets were genuine and not part of a storyline. Details on that. Plus, today is the final day, it's the end of an era, that Vince McMahon has controlling ownership of WWE before the WWE and UFC merges together under the Endeavor umbrella tomorrow. Details on that. Plus, Gable Stevenson, well, according to sources and reports, Vince McMahon will have the final say on the Olympic gold medalist's future within WWE. Saraya wants to see more titles in AEW, and Medusa has criticized the German suplex technique of Brock Lesnar. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. And let's start off talking about Kevin Nash, talking about CM Punk. It feels like that's what everyone's doing at the moment. And Kevin Nash has had some harsh words for CM Punk recently. And Kevin Nash has ripped apart any idea that CM Punk should be anywhere near WWE now that he's been terminated by AEW. Of course, CM Punk is no longer part of All Elite Wrestling after he was fired following his part in a backstage altercation with Jack Perry at All In London's Wembley Stadium. That has led to speculation that Punk could one day make a sensational return to WWE, but WWE Hall of Famer Kevin Nash has poured an ocean worth of cold water on that idea. Speaking on his Click This podcast, Kevin Nash had a lot to say about CM Punk, and none of it was particularly favourable for the former AEW star. He started by addressing the rumours that CM Punk wanted a WWE return in the 2023 Royal Rumble. Here's what Nash had to say, quote, "Please do MFer, because I'll ask Paul Levesque to put me in that bitch. I'll be on the horn tomorrow to see if we can make that happen. Sucker punch me, skinny fat boy. I apologize to the Waffle House at this point in my career for actually calling him a short order Waffle House cook. My bad. F you, Phil. Yeah, I always like my wrestlers to have birthing hips." Pretty strong stuff. As far as any suggestion that Punk could return to WWE when Survivor Series takes place in Chicago this November, that's not one that Nash wants to entertain either. He said, quote, "Selling that effing company for $9 billion bucks, boy, what do you need on a ship that's effing sailing on effing crystal clear water is some effing a-hole to effing stir shit." Again, pretty strong stuff. He then continued by saying and referring to a promo that CM Punk had cut on him by Triple H back in 2011 by saying, "Go back and watch the promo that effing Triple H cuts on him, and he's sitting in the chair. He says, the problem with you is you're just like me." And it's effing gold. Anybody out there, look up the Triple H CM Punk promo where Punk is sitting in the chair and Punk with his effing, what was that thing he used to give everybody? A pipe job. I think he wanted to give Paul a pipe job, so he's like, "Hey, I'll give you a pipe job," or whatever the F his gimmick was. Then he said, "I got an effing Pepsi tattoo," and Paul said, "Go F yourself," and he beat him after Taker beat him and everybody else because everybody just beats the effing guy. Now, a lot of people were running with that saying, wow, Kevin Nash went pretty strong with what he was saying about CM Punk there. However, it must be said, was Nash actually meaning what he said, or was he saying it in jest? Because he did say this after he had these harsh things to say about the former AEW World Champion.
WWE office. You're Vince McMahon. You're Paul Levesque. Yes.
Sean.
Yes.
Yeah, I got no heat with this guy. I'm just man. After last week,
those ratings were amazing.
Right? Just
Yeah,
milk this mother as long as we can. Like all we need now is we gave Steve enough right now to. We got a 75,000 hits just on that one right there. Okay, go ahead.
You don't have to do that. I can work in the ring with you here too. Yeah.
No. But see, that alone will be a separate little pickup.
Of course.
So the question is, do you think Kevin Nash is being genuine with what he said, or is he being honest with what he's saying to Sean Oliver there, where he's saying, look, I'm just saying it for the views. Let me know your thoughts about that. Now, one person who possibly isn't saying it for the views is Drew McIntyre. He was asked about a possible CM Punk return to WWE, and he has commented on the possibility of CM Punk returning to the company following his AEW departure. Of course, as I mentioned, Punk's termination came following the investigation into the backstage incident at All In at Wembley Stadium in London. Following following the termination of CM Punk, fans have speculated about whether or not Punk would return to WWE. Speaking with Sportskeeda, Drew McIntyre called CM Punk controversial, noting that he gets fans talking. Making it clear that he had no say on the matter, McIntyre said, quote, "I don't make those decisions. I watch what I say in interviews. He's certainly controversial and he gets people talking. I'll leave it at that." So he's not saying whether he would or wouldn't have him back. He's saying that he's controversial and he gets people talking. What do you think McIntyre actually thinks about that situation? Now, let's move on and talk about Santana and Ortiz. We spoke about this a few days ago, the back and forth between the former Proud and Powerful tag team partners. Well, it looks like their back and forth was not part of a storyline. Now, on the AEW Dynamite before All In London, Santana made his triumphant return following an ACL tear he suffered last year at Blood and Guts. He was quickly joined by his former Proud and Powerful tag team partner Ortiz as they aligned themselves with the Blackpool Combat Club against the Lucha Brothers and the Best Friends, setting the stage for a Stadium Stampede match at Wembley Stadium at the All In event. Now, it was an exciting reunion for the fans. Still, it does not appear the former Inner Circle members will be working together going forward based on a video that Santana released on social media over the weekend. It was actually something that did air on Rampage on Friday as well. This is what Santana had to say in it, if indeed you have forgotten or missed it. He said, quote, "There comes a time in everyone's life where you reach a fork in the road. When you get there, there's decisions that need to be made in order to proceed in the right direction. Some roads are easy and lead to mediocrity and comfortability. Some roads come with new challenges and force you to grow. If there's one thing I've learned through this process, it's that you can't depend on anyone to have the same passion or drive or hell to even have your back the same way that you would. But with that being said, the world has been asking all these questions and now the world is about to get their answers. The road I've chosen to take is one that must be taken on my own. No crutch, no crew, straight dolo, exactly how I like it. All I've done in my entire life is bet on myself, but I'll tell you this, I'm not here to be another guy in the game, I'm here to be the guy. And I know I'm going to piss a lot of people off, but you can ask me if I give a damn. I ain't here to make friends, I'm here to make money, and if you ain't down, you're going to get run down. The nastiest is yet to come." Now, Santana's declaration that he would be flying solo from here on out was not lost on his longtime tag team partner Ortiz, and it didn't take long for the AEW star to respond. Here's what he had to say in case you missed it once again. He said, quote, "What a way to find out years of having your back meant nothing. Good luck without your crutch. Just remember it helped you walk the last 14 plus years. Hope your legs are good. Thank you for being honest for once, but you couldn't say it to my face. You know you still can, right?" Now, this indeed led to a response by Santana on social media. Here's what Santana had to say, quote, "Wow, first thing you said to me in 14 months. No text, no call. No, I hope your recovery has gone well. But of course, paint me to be the bad guy like you've always done. Guess you forgot about our last conversation about this. Either way, I'm happy. I hope and pray the same for you." Now, of course, some were speculating this might be a storyline. Others were suggesting that it was not. Of course, it had been reported previously and put out there by Conan, who, of course, worked with the two men as part of the LAX faction in Impact Wrestling, and he's continued to stay close with both. He explained, I believe it was to Nick Houseman of House of Wrestling, that the friction between the two seems to be rooted in how they feel that AEW has booked them. He noted that Ortiz is a much more laid-back guy who's happy to take whatever booking he is given, while Santana can be more of a hothead and is looking to move up the card. So there's a disconnect when it comes to how they've been booked in AEW. But still, some were suggesting that maybe, yes, indeed, they were splitting up, but they were going to be feuding on television moving forward. Well, House of Wrestling, Nick Houseman is reporting this afternoon, this evening, this morning, depending on where you are in the world. They have been told that the exchanges between Santana and Ortiz are indeed genuine and are not part of some storyline between the two. That's the latest reporting on this. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you believe the report that this is a genuine back and forth, a heated back and forth between two tag team partners that have since fallen out, or do you believe it's just working the dirt sheets and working the reporters for an upcoming storyline on AEW television? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, today is the end of an era for World Wrestling Entertainment, particularly when it comes to the McMahon ownership of it, because tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw is the end of an era as Vince McMahon prepares to sell the company to Endeavor. The sports entertainment giant is still at the top of the professional wrestling mountain, and McMahon has owned the company for over 40 years, while still serving as the executive chairman to this day. In January 1993, he launched Monday Night Raw as the promotion's flagship show, and it's continued to be a force on television and in wrestling ever since. However, this week, WWE's merger with UFC's parent company, or with UFC under the parent company umbrella Endeavor, is set to be confirmed, that being confirmed tomorrow, and it's set to form the $21 billion brand TKO. In a press release last week, Endeavor and WWE announced they expect to close the previously announced transaction to form TKO Group Holdings Inc., that just being TKO, on September 12, 2023. Of course, that is tomorrow. With the deal set to go through Tuesday, this means that tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw will be the last one before the historic acquisition, and thus the final broadcast of the McMahon-owned era. Now, of course, news of WWE being sold to Endeavor was officially announced the morning after WrestleMania 39 in Hollywood back on April 3rd. At the time, it was confirmed that Endeavor CEO Ari Emanuel will serve in the same role for the TKO Group, while WWE's controlling shareholder McMahon will be the executive chairman for the new company. The new owners will have a 51% stake in the new firm, while WWE shareholders will hold the remaining 49%. TKO will also see Dana White continue as the president of UFC, and Nick Khan will serve the same role on the WWE side of the operation. In the statement back in April, McMahon said, quote, "Given the incredible work that Ari and Endeavor have done to grow the UFC brand, nearly doubling its revenue over the past 7 years, and the immense success we've already had in partnering with their team on a number of ventures, I believe that this is without a doubt the best outcome for our shareholders and other stakeholders." He continued by saying, "Together, we will be a $21 billion plus live sports and entertainment powerhouse with a collective fan base of more than 1 billion people and an exciting growth opportunity." McMahon added that he was looking forward to working closely with Emanuel, as well as the management teams at Endeavor and UFC, so they can all take their respective businesses to the next level. While there are naturally some changes coming to the board of directors, at the moment it's expected that Triple H Paul Levesque will continue in his role as head of creative for WWE as the chief content officer. But again, it's a significant day and a significant moment for the history of not only WWE but professional wrestling, because tomorrow Vince McMahon's controlling ownership of WWE ends as WWE shares become TKO shares. Now, he'll still own nearly $3 billion in securities, but WWE share structure gave him preferred voting power, a bit like Mark Zuckerberg's preferred voting power at Meta. That will not transfer over to TKO. So essentially, while still be in charge of WWE, he won't be in charge of his own destiny, of his own future. That will be up to Ari Emanuel. So certainly a significant day when it comes to Vince McMahon and WWE. Now, speaking of Vince McMahon, though, reportedly he's going to be the one that's in the future, in charge of the future, certainly, of Gable Stevenson. Now, Gable Stevenson's uncertain future could lie in the hands of Vince McMahon. The WWE in-ring debut of freestyle wrestling Olympic gold medalist Gable Stevenson took place at June's Great American Bash event, where he faced WWE veteran Baron Corbin. The match only went just over 6 minutes and ended in a double countout. Fans chanted bullshit at the finish and were booing Stevenson, even though he was a babyface in the match. Stevenson hasn't appeared on NXT television since then, nor has he been mentioned at all, and now it seems the star has been removed from the brand's roster. However, that was a bit strange considering he did wrestle at an NXT event over the weekend, actually just a day after the report suggested that he had been removed from the roster. Now, Stevenson had looked set to pursue his amateur career with the possibility that he could compete at the Paris Olympics in 2024. However, his days on the mat looked to be over after he withdrew from the 2023 World Championships, apparently at the behest of WWE. Now, speaking on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer noted that amid all the uncertainty over Gable Stevenson, the decision on his future will be made at the very top of the company. Here's what Meltzer had to say on the matter. He said, quote, "He worked 2 shows this weekend. That was coming off from Wednesday when he pulled out of the World Championships. It's weird because originally they had him pegged as the next Brock Lesnar. Obviously, that has to be reevaluated. He got a great deal coming off of winning the gold medal, as he was expected to be the next Brock Lesnar. But, you know, he was going to debut on the main roster in a big way, and now he's wrestling Dante Chin in Sebring, Florida, in front of 200 people to get ready. His trajectory has changed greatly, but he is there and not trying for Belgrade. I don't know if he's going to be back on TV soon. I know a week ago they had no plans for him." He then continued by saying, a lot of it depends on his situation, will depend on Vince McMahon. Until Vince comes back, I don't know if we're going to know a lot that's going to happen with him, because his situation is going to be a Vince decision. And if Vince isn't back, then Triple H is in charge and everything like that. But it's the big picture. He's got an uphill climb right now. So what do you think the future will be for Gable Stevenson in WWE? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, do we need more titles in AEW? Well, Saraya says we do, particularly when it comes to the women's division. Now, speaking to Women's Wrestling Talk, AEW Women's World Champion Saraya discussed the women's division in the company, making known her desire to see both a women's tag and trios championships introduced in the future. Saraya pointed towards the plethora of female talents, some of which in tag teams and trios, as perfect justification behind Tony Khan making the decision. She explained, quote, I would love for there to be a female trios championship or a regular tag team championship for women, because we do have 2 women's titles, and that's awesome, but there are so many women on our roster, and so many women that are in big tag teams. Why don't we make a tag team championship? Who knows? Tony always has great ideas up his sleeve. So do you agree with Saraya? Should we see more titles in the women's division in AEW, or do we have too many titles in AEW just in general right now? Finally, Brock Lesnar is known for taking people to Suplex City, but a WWE Hall of Famer has called out the suplex technique of the Beast. Now, in a Q&A with Monthly Perusu, Medusa, Alundra Blaze in WWE, discussed Lesnar's suplexes and why they bother her so much from a technical and safety standpoint. Here's what she said, quote, it scares me every time I see Brock Lesnar try and do a suplex. I cringe every time. Brock does that, whatever he calls a German. I yell every time. I'm like, Suplex City, my ass. That's no German suplex. The former women's champion explained how she had been taught to execute the move properly whilst training in Japan early in her career in order to keep her opponent safe. While Lesnar has earned respect as an excellent worker across his 2-decade career, the Beast has often been known for his unpredictable nature. Lesnar's most recent rival Cody Rhodes recently spoke of this, particularly in relation to an unscripted moment after their match at SummerSlam, which saw the Beast shake hands and raise the hand and arm of the American Nightmare after their match, with Rhodes having no idea that was going to happen. Do you agree with what Medusa said? Is Brock Lesnar's German suplex is dangerous, or does she need to get over it? But there you go, guys. It's the latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.